Well, big news coming in from the Supreme Court. It's a very significant order that's been issued by the Supreme Court about the stray dog menace following multiple petitions that have been filed before the court. The court has said, pick up all stray dogs from localities within 8 weeks and move them to shelters. The Supreme Court has also urged that immediate steps should be taken to set up dog shelters, and directions have also been given to the Delhi government, the MCD, as well. And they've also described the stray dog menace as alarming and disturbing. Now, on the 29th of July, the Supreme Court had taken suo motu cognizance of the growing menace of stray dog attacks in different parts of the country as well, some of which have resulted in brutal fatalities. And following, of course, the bench taking suo motu cognizance and also, of course, looking at reports from the media, there's a strong order that's now been delivered by the court. Let me in fact go across to Harish for more on this. Harish, this is a very interesting order, to say the least, on the part of the Supreme Court, which says pick up stray dogs from various localities and move them to shelters. First and foremost, does India have enough shelters? And secondly, this is something that might invite resistance from animal rights activists. Tell us specifically about what the Supreme Court has said.
Yes, Siddharth, in fact, what we should remember is that this order pertains to the national capital, Delhi region, and it's a very big order as far as aimed at ending the stray dog menace in Delhi is concerned. Bench led by Justice Justice Pardiwala and Justice Mahadevan has issued a very big order, very landmark order to end this menace, and has said that all these stray dogs should be rounded up and picked up from localities within 8 weeks and transported to dog shelters. Enough dog shelters should be created, set up within 8 weeks, and not a single stray dog should remain on the streets after 8 weeks. Otherwise, it will amount to initiation of contempt against various authorities, and thereby the Supreme Court has given strict direction to the government of Delhi, MCD and NDMC to begin the exercise of rounding up the stray dogs and put them in specially erected dog shelters in various localities. And once a dog is caught, it shall not be released at any cost. And also another direction is that all these dogs should be sterilized, immunized and made rabies free. Remember, terming it alarming and disturbing, Supreme Court had on July 29 taken suo motu cognizance of a report in the Times of India of the growing menace of stray dogs attacks, sometimes resulting in fatalities, and bench had taken cognizance of the issue after going through Times of India report highlighting the tragic death of a 6-year-old Delhi girl due to rabies contraction from a dog bite incident. And let me read out part of the order. It says, we propose to issue following directions. The state of NCD Delhi, MCD and NDMC is directed to create dog shelters and report this court creation of such infrastructure within 8 weeks. The dog shelters should have sufficient staff to sterilize and immunize. Dog shelter would be monitored by CCTV to ensure no dog is released. NCT, Delhi, MCD, NDMC shall at earliest start picking up stray dogs from all localities, from more particularly vulnerable localities and cities. How to do is for the authorities to look into, and if they have to create a force, do it at the earliest. So the Supreme Court essentially saying, come what may, the city of Delhi we should get rid of the dog menace in Delhi.
Okay.
Do whatever it takes, but
absolutely strong orders from the Supreme Court. Let's in fact hear from one of the activists as well. Ambika Shukla ji joins us. Ms. Shukla, what do you have to say about what the Supreme Court has now directed the MCD authorities as well as the Delhi government to do, which is to pick up stray dogs from all localities and move them to shelters? It's taken suo motu cognizance of the repeated number of stray dog attacks that we've seen in different parts of the country. What's your view on this, ma'am?
There have been no shelters set up by the Delhi government or the NCR government. So how does this order play out? Because there are no such shelters. So first you have to do it in a phased manner. These are not, alu sabzi. These are living beings. And if you are wanting to move them to shelters, then you have to set up such shelters. You have to set up the system You have to ensure that cruelty is not caused. Because in a previous order, all previous orders of the Supreme Court have very clearly said that compassionate treatment and treatment is to be ensured for all animals. And this is part of our fundamental rights. It's part of the 5 freedoms for animals. It is part of all previous judicial directions. So I think this order needs to be seen in that context, that first these shelters need to be set up, first the systems have to be laid out. Otherwise, it's a completely impractical order, because how are you going to ensure funding if the numbers are as we have has been suggested in the public domain? Somebody has bandied about numbers such as 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs, 10 lakhs. Now, if 10 lakh dogs are to be shifted to shelters, you have to have adequate space. Correct. Where are these spaces? Where is the funding? Every dog, it costs 2,500 per dog per month, and this is a recurring cost. So are you willing to pay 10 lakhs into 2,500 per month? Plus you have sterilization costs. So this is a recurring cost. So has this funding been allocated? Has the medical facilities been allocated? Because you will need that many vets to monitor the shelters. You will need that much staff. You will need that much area. You will have to provide for exercise. You will have to provide for shelters during the rain, during the cold, thermal control, because all of these are required under the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act. So I think that this order needs to be properly analyzed, and if it cannot be implemented, then we need to review it, because some orders can be implemented and some orders will need time, will need deliberation.
And just a very quick follow-up, Ms. Shukla, very quick follow-up. Do you believe that this period of 8 weeks that's been now given by the Supreme Court to the designated authorities, that's a very limited amount of time to be undertaking an exercise of this magnitude?
Correct, and it will lead to enormous cruelty. And I don't know whether the Supreme Court has actually taken that into consideration. It needs to be heard, the animals need to be heard. The voices for the animals need to be heard, because it is easy to pass an order on paper, but what it will actually mean on ground is horrific cruelty. And it is not like this solution has not been tried before. India used to have pounds, and those pounds were hellholes where animals just suffered and died. So keeping animals in close confinement in shelters is not the answer. They become hotbeds for infection, which spread to other areas. So it is not a feasible solution in my mind. Okay. And I think it needs to be very carefully reviewed, considered and deliberated upon before any kind of steps are taken. I do hope the Supreme Court will afford an opportunity.
All right, Ms. Shukla, thank you. Thank you for your view. We'll, of course, wait for the fine print of the judgment or the order to come out, and we'll study it carefully. Let me, in fact, go across to my colleague Harish once again, who's been reporting on this matter from the Supreme Court. Harish, a couple of questions being raised by activists. One is this time period of 8 weeks that's been given to the authorities too little? Because there may not be an adequate number of shelters to accommodate all these stray dogs that need to be picked up, firstly. And secondly, will this be done in a humane way? Because the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act does stipulate that even when you're undertaking such an exercise, it needs to be done in a humane manner.
Siddharth, in fact, dealing on this, yes, it's a very relevant question. Dealing on this subject, Justice Pardibala said, we are only issuing directions, and how you implement it, it's up to you. Yes, many lawyers representing animal lovers also said that a humane way has to be approached. The Supreme Court said what should be the process adopted. That we leave it to the authorities, government of NCT, MCD and the NDMC. But very interestingly, the court said that any organization or dog lovers, if they come in the way of authorities picking up the strays and shifting into sheltered dogs, that will be viewed very seriously. Contempt action will be initiated against such dog lovers. So in fact, a very stringent, very strict order as far as an attempt to end the stray dog menace rampant in the various parts of society, various localities. Supreme Court issuing a very strong order that each and every stray dog in localities, especially vulnerable localities, should be picked up, and shelter homes have to be set up within 8 weeks. 8 weeks is the final time given to the Supreme Court.
A very significant order by the court. We'll, of course, have to now wait and see as to how this very important order is implemented on the ground by the concerned authorities. Just to clarify to our viewers, this judgment is confined to the Delhi-NCR region.